Greetings and welcome to the latest episode of Legal Bites, the official podcast of Cummings and Cummings Law, where we focus on helping businesses and their owners re-domesticate out of volatile legal and tax environments like the Garden State of New Jersey to more predictable pro-entrepreneurship, pro-growth jurisdictions. Today, we are reviewing a recent report by Zero Hedge on Samsung's redomestication from New Jersey to Texas as part of the growing wave of businesses, large and small, exiting business unfriendly jurisdictions. I will further explain nearer to the end of today's presentation how small and medium sized business owners can avail themselves of the same process to achieve similar results. But first, a brief introduction. My name is Chad Cummings, and I am an attorney and a certified public accountant serving clients in matters of business, tax, and commercial law. I am Chief Executive Officer of the multi-state, multi-attorney law firm Cummings and Cummings Law. And in addition to my day job, I also teach business and tax law at the university level. I hold 4 degrees, including 2 law degrees, as well as a bachelor's degree in accounting and a master's degree in taxation, in addition to 11 professional licenses and certifications covering accounting, tax, audit, and of course, the law. My firm website is www.cummings.law. Now, Samsung opened a brand new 270,000 square foot headquarters in New Jersey. 8 months later, it announced it is abandoning the building and relocating its US headquarters and 1,000 corporate jobs to its existing campus in Plano, Texas, which is a suburb just north of Dallas. 8 months later, the ribbon cutting photographs are not even a year old, and the company is leaving. Samsung's statement cited a business transformation designed to position the company for long-term growth and future success. Typical corporate speak. It did not mention New Jersey's tax code because it did not need to. New Jersey has the highest corporate income tax rate in the country. The base rate is 9% for companies with more than $100,000 in net income, which is extremely unfavorable for small and medium-sized business owners. To add insult to injury, a 2.5% corporate transit fee applies to businesses with more than $10 million in taxable income allocated to the state, bringing the effective top rate to almost 12%. Meanwhile, Texas does not impose a corporate income tax. They do have something called a franchise tax, but that only kicks in around $2.5 million in annual revenue, meaning that most small and medium-sized businesses do not need to concern themselves with it. The New Jersey Assembly GOP posted the comparison on the day of the announcement. New Jersey has the highest corporate tax rate in the nation. Texas has no corporate income tax. Ergo, Texas gets the jobs. This is not rocket science. Samsung is not the first company to leave New Jersey. Mercedes-Benz left, Hertz left, ExxonMobil redomesticated to Texas in March 2026 from New Jersey, bypassing Delaware entirely, as we have reported at some length in earlier presentations on Legal Bites. The Economist published an article last month titled Texas is Becoming America Inc.'s, so it's INC period apostrophe S, which I wouldn't have written that headline because that's a clunky headline, but I guess I don't work for the Economist. So let me back up. The headline is Texas is Becoming America Inc.'s center of gravity. I would have found a less clunky way to convey that sentiment, but the sentiment is accurate. The subtitle is unnecessary because the data tell the story. What makes Samsung different is the speed. Most corporate relocations follow years of planning, lease expirations, and gradual transitions. Samsung did the opposite. They opened a new headquarters, staffed it, operated it for 8 months, and decided to say adios to New Jersey. The cost of building out and then abandoning A 270,000 square foot facility is not a rounding error, even for Samsung. Samsung calculated that the cost of staying in New Jersey exceeded the cost of walking away from a building it had just finished occupying. That calculation tells you everything you need to know about the business environment in New Jersey. As I covered in an earlier edition of Legal Bites, New Jersey ranks at an abysmal 49th place on the Tax Foundation's most recent State Tax Competitiveness Index survey. Only New York ranks worse. New Jersey has held a bottom two position for over a decade. The state's individual income tax rate reaches almost 11%, which is eye-wateringly high. It also imposes a state-level inheritance tax, in addition to and not in place of the federal estate and gift tax regime. New Jersey imposes one of the highest property tax burdens in the country. It enacted its state-level income tax regime in 1976 to ostensibly reduce property taxes. At least that's what the politicians said. But 50 years later, both the income tax and the property taxes rank near the worst in the nation. The income tax did not replace the property tax, it was simply added to it. For small and medium-sized business owners, the Samsung decision is instructive because the mechanism Samsung used to relocate its headquarters is available to every business owner in a similar position. Samsung moved its operations. A business owner who wants to also change the legal domicile of their existing LLC or corporation can do the same through the process known as redomestication. Now, with that context in mind, redomestication is the lesser known legal process of transferring a company's state of domicile to a new state without dissolving it, without creating a new entity, and without triggering federal income tax consequences, but only when performed by a competent professional in strict conformity with the Federal Internal Revenue Code, applicable Treasury regulations, and the statutory frameworks of both the destination and departing states. When executed correctly, the company retains its existing federal employer identification number, contracts, credit history, and bank accounts. I have successfully redomesticated companies from all 50 states, including New Jersey, and for limited liability companies, partnerships, subchapter S corporations, and subchapter C corporations. And not to brag, but we have a 100% success rate to date. Of course, who knows what the future holds, but we've gotten pretty good at these. And if you look at our reviews, our clients seem to agree. Now, foreign entity registration is not the same thing as redomestication. Do not allow yourself to be confused by terminology. These terms are not interchangeable. They have distinct meanings. Foreign entity registration, also referred to as foreign qualification, does not, repeat, not change the company's domicile. It does the opposite. It keeps the entity in the former state, New Jersey in our example, indefinitely and merely adds a second layer of compliance and tax obligations in the new state. Meanwhile, a traditional merger, which is also not the same thing as redomestication, creates a new distinct entity in the destination state, may require the issuance of a new federal employer identification number, and can trigger serious tax consequences. Just about an hour ago, I received an email from a prospective client who had tried to handle this on their own based on reading Reddit, and the results were abysmal. They created a new entity. Now they have contractual breaches. The bank won't talk to them or is demanding evidence that the assets have been transferred and so forth. It's a mess. Do not try to handle this on your own. You will likely regret it. That's not a threat. That's an observation from the hundreds of redomestications on which my firm has been retained. Finally, dissolution should not enter the conversation at all. Dissolution terminates the company. Dissolution is a going out of business maneuver, not a relocation mechanism. Dissolution is often a taxable event, and when performed inadvisedly, can expose the owners of the company to unlimited personal, emphasis on the word personal, joint and several liability for the company's liabilities, known and unknown. And you might say, well, we've never been sued. Well, if you ever had a contract or any kind of tort exposure or environmental exposure, you probably have some latent liabilities you don't know about. And if you don't, consider yourself in the minority. So if you have a so-called professional suggesting dissolution as a relocation mechanism, they don't have a clue what they're talking about, and I urge you to seek better advice. Now, redomestication, when paired with the change of personal residency and this is an important and, particularly in our example involving Samsung, a reduction or outright cessation of business operations in New Jersey can reduce or even eliminate state tax exposure there for the entity and its owners. Don't take my word for it. Ask your CPA. Now is the time to consider acting before the New Jersey legislature considers changes to the law to hinder or even eliminate the possibility of redomestication. If you have questions regarding potentially redomesticating your existing LLC or corporation out of New Jersey or out of another jurisdiction, please use the link in the description for more information on this process and to schedule time for you and I to speak one-on-one about your specific scenario. Again, my name is Chad Cummings, and I hope that you found this information helpful. As always, the information in this presentation is necessarily general in nature and is not legal or tax advice, nor should it be construed as such, because that advice definitionally must be specific to a particular set of facts and circumstances. Should you have any questions regarding this information or the content of any of my many earlier presentations on these topics, please visit my firm website at www.cummings.law, not .com, but .law, to schedule time for a consultation. I look forward to that opportunity to speak and perhaps even work with you very soon.